Uh, So, what to do about empathetic distress or compassion fatigue? When you feel overwhelmed by the despair of your heart, is it appropriate to just kind of shut down? Is it appropriate? What's the best thing to do in those situations? And this is Joan Halifax. She talked about a study that was done with Buddhist monks where that had, over 10,000 hours of meditation in their lives. And one of the things that they found was that people who meditate have the ability to very much be in the presence of suffering, that the way they measured their brains, their capacities to feel suffering were very alive. They were not shut down. They were not unsympathetic, but rather they had a deeper capacity to have empathy and feel. But what was different is that they could let it go, that they didn't hold on, that there was this capacity to feel deeply, but also release. And we're not trained in how to do this well. We're very much socially, unconsciously trained to just avoid pain, to take the pain medicine, to have a drink, to turn on the TV, to check your phone, to, I don't know, busy yourself with anything, to distract yourself with a million options, right? Um, we're not really taught how to be in suffering and then to release and let things go. So we don't kind of hold so much where we end up getting in distress. And think of the ways, I'm sure this has happened to you. It happens to me. Lately, I have really thought a lot about needing to sharpen the skills of being able to hold good boundaries and being able to do the practices of letting go. So, in yoga, the yamas, there's a lot in the Yoga Sutra that could help us with this. But what we're going to focus on today is the yamas. So, just a review. The yamas are kind of the original part of the yoga practice. When in the traditional times, when one would present with, "I would like to learn yoga," the yamas and the niyamas came first before anything else. And the yamas are kind of like the ways that we rein ourselves in, the restraints that we put upon ourselves, our moral code of conduct, so that we can develop discipline and will, and we can also have the capacity to reduce um, the things that kind of weigh upon us and cover our natural capacities for being in the presence of the divine within ourselves and with each other. So those are ahimsa, which is non-harming, satya, which is truthfulness, asteya, which is not stealing, brahmacharya, which is a sense of continence or energy, containing your energy. And then the one I want to talk about today is aparigraha, which is the sense of non-grasping, that our tendencies often bring us to a place where we like to cling and grab onto that which we want. We have greed, we have possessiveness, but really in the respect of empathetic distress, we grasp onto something that we see needs changing in the world, and we can't let it go. We just kind of, it's like dog with a bone. So this is good in some ways. We need people who are like a dog with a bone, because that sense of commitment to a cause is so necessary to get good work done in the world. But you need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. That if you're always the dog with the bone and never and are just grasping onto the attachment of whatever you're working with, it will deplete you. So in order to not have that depletion, we need to work with that aspect in the sutra that I've talked about before of never give up and always let go. And can you marry those two things together? Can you have a sense of deep commitment and discipline around serving the world in the way that you do, but can you also release and let go to the attachments of your efforts? And This isn't so easy. I understand that it's not so easy. So I wanted to read you a quote. Oh, I lost the quote. Let's see. Yep, the quote's gone, but it was a beautiful quote. Let's see if I can just get it back up here on my phone. Um, yeah, it's no longer here. But it was a quote by Rodney Yee, and it really, talked about how we have to fully commit ourselves to a practice, but also learn to completely let go to the fruits of our labors. And it always makes me think of a tree. This concept, whenever I think of it, makes me think of fruit trees, that they do all this work. It can be, an oak tree with an acorn. It can be a peach tree with this heavily laden peaches. But there's this efforting of the tree to produce, or at least that's what I suppose happens inside the tree, that there's energy that's given. And yet the tree never gets to taste the fruit of its labor. And that it drops its fruit and it's free for the giving, for others to receive. So that's how we can be with this concept of aparigraha, that we can offer ourselves fully, but that we cannot attach to the fruits of our labors, and we can practice the art of non-grasping, that we don't have to hold so tightly to that which what we want. Okay. So how do we do this? Let's practice on our mat with the simple things. Start with simple things, and then it gains that skill to greater things. So I always think the breath has a lesson to be learned for anything we're thinking of, and we'll begin there. So close your eyes and find a comfortable seat and drop your awareness down into your body. And take a moment to settle yourself and see what it feels like to get to know your body in space right now. Feel a sense of grounding through your pelvis. And forget about the non-grasping for a moment. Forget about the aparigraha and just be in your body. And ask yourself, how are you today? Kind of taking stock maybe of your physical body, your nervous system, any ways that maybe some empathetic distress is showing up in yourself. How is your nervous system responding? Are there tension places in your body? Are you tired? Are you in any emotional distress? And as you kind of take stock of what's here, let's see if we can give ourselves the gift of our practice as support for ourselves. So start with the simplicity of the breath. Let it kind of move through you like a healing balm, where we have this capacity to feel flow. And if we are thinking about this state of non-grasping, that we can kind of work with this never give up and always let go. Can we get the feeling state of letting go? Can we get the feeling state of non-grasping to our breath? And you might want to symbolically open your hands up, relax your muscles, even the subtle ways where we grasp. Muscle tension can be a form of grasping. Holding our breath can be a form of grasping. Wanting to get it right can be a form of grasping. So instead of those things, see if you can melt and open and just let the breath go. Last week we did a lot of work with that Viloma breath where there was a sense of containment and holding. But today the practice is just the opposite, where try not to hold. See if you can just let the full exhale go. And when you're ready for the next breath in, can you invite with a sense of freedom? Can you invite with not a sense of grasping, I need this, it's mine, but rather, can you be in the flow state of breath itself? Can you just be able to receive what's coming without grasping? And that usually means not hoarding the breath, not holding the breath, not topping the tank off with the top of the breath. So think less about, I have to get this deep, full, big, it's all mine coming to me, but just let the breath naturally flow. There doesn't have to be any extra holding or extra volume. See if you can stay within just the presence of flow. There's usefulness to breath holds, but for today, even in those pauses, especially in those pauses between the two sides of the breath, let's see if we can pay attention to those places and let the transition happen as fluidly as possible. And as we kind of work with being in the flow of the breath, let the mind also, in addition to observing the breath, think about something that we could let go of. What are you holding on to? It could be, you haven't cleaned out your closet in a while and you have clothes that you don't wear ever. It could be that your inbox that you've been saving, a whole bunch of things to do later and haven't taken a moment to clear. Okay. It could be a state of emotional space where you've been holding on to a rumination in the mind or a rumination in the heart. Perhaps you're holding a grudge. Perhaps you're holding a conviction super tightly and it could use some more spaciousness around it. Perhaps you're wanting the fruits of your labors. So whatever's showing up for you, however Aparigraha kind of shows up as a challenge for you, can you let your breath teach you over and over the art of letting go? So sense into maybe a word that you'd like to say on the out breath. You don't have to. It could be an image. It could be nothing at all. Maybe that's not a practice you're interested in right now. But if you'd like to, you could have the option of having a word to represent what you're releasing. And for just a moment before we start moving, imagine yourself free of whatever it is that you are grasping. What's there when you let it go? What changes? What spaciousness arrives? And then we'll move our way out of this practice. So bring your hands together and offer the intention of perhaps working with this Aparigraha in our practice today. Maybe it's something completely different that you're intending. And then relax the hands and let's find our way onto our back. And so as you stretch out and lengthen your body, can you stay in the flow of your breath? The breath, if we let it, is one of our very greatest teachers in so many aspects. So let the breath teach you today that art of flow, that art of being just in the flow and not attaching letting ourselves kind of move in the water of the river instead of clinging to the edges. Stretch your arms overhead and feel that reaching and lengthening. And then draw your knees into your chest and a little rocking from side to side. Okay. Hang on to the knees and circle, kind of rolling a little bit one way, rolling a little bit another way. And then opening up your knees, kind of feeling that sense of range of motion. See if you can feel fluidity in the movement. Try to limit your staccato today and come more into that freedom, slow freedom movement. Right knee into your chest, and let's roll around in our ankles and feel that fluidity of movement of your joints. Rest your head, stay with the breath. Train yourself to stay with your breath as often as you can. I know, we lose it, we lose sight of it, and then just gently, when you remember, just keep gently bringing yourself back. There's no admonishment, there's no grabbing to the breath, but just a gentle reminder, oh, here I am in the presence of my breath. The breath is always there, whether you're paying attention to it or not. So let's be in the flow. Cross that right knee over to the left and stretch open through your chest. Feel free to have some movement in this if you'd like. Feel free to be still. Open up your chest. Feel your way into your spine. Enjoy. Open your palm up and relax. Okay. And then stretch out to a star on the ground. Let's roll your wrists and roll your ankles while you're out here in space, and then draw your knees into your chest and pick up your head. Hug your left knee and right leg long on the ground, and feel free to keep moving your feet around. I find it, I'm sure you do too, to be hard sometimes to let go of the fruits of your labors. You want to see results. You work hard at something and you want to have some results, but inevitably a setback will arrive or a different route will be had. So just increase your adaptability with this process of Aparigraha. Cross over into a twist, stretch open and breathe. Expand your body, expand your breathing. All right, and then stretch open to a star again, reaching your limbs wide. Let's roll your wrists and your toes again. Big breath in, and as your exhale comes, draw your knees in, pick up your head, and then release your head down. Arms out to the sides. And let's open and close our fists a few times here. And then we'll rock into some windshield wipers. Okay, so moving through your knees, rocking left and right, maybe turning your head. Can you feel that fluid movement through your body? All right, and then the last star out onto the ground. Exhale and curl in, roll to your side and come up to your hands and your knees. As you find your way to all fours, what a beautiful opportunity this posture is for the art of letting go. Okay, so even when we practice simple poses, we can sense into where am I grasping, where am I tensing, where am I holding, and where can I release. So practice in your body and in your breath the concept of Aparigraha, non-grasping, non-clinging, so that when we get to the harder stuff, we're familiar with what this discipline feels like. Breathing deeply as you go, remembering we're not holding the breath, we're not guarding the breath, we're not pushing the breath, we're just in the flow. And then feel free to wag your tail or move your spine or move your head, your tail, your shoulders, anything at all. Let fluidity happen. That there's no rhyme or reason. You can just let your body have a flow state. No rules. All right, and then drop back to a child's pose and walk the hands far out in front of you and lengthen, stretch and breathe. Walk over to one side and feel that groundedness through your sit bones. Walk the hands over to the other side and feel that groundedness through your sit bones. And then come back up, move around in your spine a little bit more. And then we'll find a twist, reaching an arm up, roll your wrist around or open and close your fist. And then we'll drop that shoulder down. Feel free to have some movement in this. Feel free to be still. How's that flow state of the breath? Let's reach the arm back up. Hand comes down onto the ground and we'll switch sides. Arm up. Let's roll the wrist around a little bit or open and close your fist. Drop that shoulder down and twist. Movement can happen. Stillness can happen. Definitely breath is happening. Try not to hold. Try not to grasp. See if you can let that image of floating in a river instead of grasping to the sides. Can you submit to the flow? Even if it's scary. And reach the arm all the way back up. Hand comes down onto the ground and let's lift to a dog pose. Take a little time to move here. You can pedal your feet. Move around in your hips or your head or your shoulders. Stay present with the breath. See if you can keep your mind's eye noticing the breath, noticing the flow of your breath. And then when you feel ready, walk your feet forward for an Uttanasana, a forward fold. Relax your head. A halfway lift when you feel ready. How's the breath? One more time, a rising tide, halfway lift on the in breath, open your legs, exhale to melt again. Push through your feet, rising up, bringing the arms upward to the sky. Maybe lean back. Let's have a cactus through our chest, open your heart, and exhale in the round. One more time, arms up high, flow forward. A halfway lift. Melt again. Step back to a dog pose. Feel your way into your breath. Feel the groundedness. Get close to the earth. Maybe that word on your exhale can just drop into the ground. Surrender. Give something to the earth that you're ready to let go of. Come forward into a plank. And even though our body has to hold strongly, is there still fluidity even within a strongly held pose? Let's find our way to the ground. Roll the shoulders. Take a deep breath in, a cobra pose. Melting. One more time. Shoulders back. Open up through the front body. Exhale. And relax. Come up onto all fours. Move your spine. Wiggle it around a little bit again. Let's bring our right foot in front. Come to a lunge. Keep your back knee down on the ground. Open up through that hip flexor of the back leg, lifting through your chest. Even though our body is still, the breath is moving. All right, we'll find our way to half Hanumasana, stretch back. You can have hands on blocks if you'd like. And we'll find that flow of bending into the front knee and moving back to a hamstring stretch. We're in the flow of our breath. All right, come to a lunge and take your foot a little bit wider, hands on blocks on or ground on the inside edge of your knee, or foot rather. And then we'll let that knee kind of butterfly open and close, just kind of walking our way into the hip a little bit. All right, then bring that foot back, come to all fours. A cat-cow again, find your breath. And switch sides. Bring your left foot in front. You can bring hands on blocks if you'd like. Finding that lunge, maybe come upright a little bit more. Feel the hip flexor of that back leg stretch open and lengthen. Lift your heart. And then we'll go back and forth here between a half Hanumasana and bending forward. Keep that left hip descending as you straighten the leg. How's your breath? And then come into a little bit wider foot. You can bring your hands to the inside edge of that left foot. And feel free to move your knee around. You can kind of butterfly it open and then bring it back. Feel free to straighten your leg a little bit. Just kind of find what's here. And then relax that. Bring yourself back onto your knees and lift to a dog pose. Extension and length in your body. Breathing deeply around yourself. And then we'll walk our feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. A halfway lift, long spine. Exhale. And melt. Push you through your feet, rising up. Trace right down through the center. Pausing here for a moment. A deep breath in. A long breath out. Can you feel the art of surrender here? Notice any tension in your body that you can soften and let go, even the smallest little bit of tension. Come up onto your toes, reach the arms to the sky, and then we'll exhale, bend your knees, look forward. A halfway lift, opening through your heart. Exhale,
Relaxing down. One more time through vinyasa. Come back to a dog. Feel your breath. A full inhale, a full exhale. The body shape is a container for the breathing. Inhale forward to a plank. Lower yourself down. The shapes are the reflection of the breath. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, surrender. Up onto your hands and your knees. Wiggle your spine. Come down to a child's pose. And press in here, ground yourself. What can you let go of here? Let the shape offer something to release. Spread out your hands, lift, inhale, a dog pose. Exhale while you're here. Come forward when you're ready. Push through the feet, rising up. And come down to the center of your heart with your hands again. How do you feel? What is shifting by paying attention to your breathing, by the gentle movement of your body in harmony with the breath? Release your hands and let's turn sideways on your mat. Keep the breath alive. Turn your right foot out and we'll find some movement here. Reach the arms up. And as we exhale, veer two. We're not going to stay. Okay, inhale. Arms come back up or to center. Exhale. Veer up. Flowing with the breath. This time we'll stay in the pose, but we're not going to stop breathing. Be in the river, even though our body is still. Float your shoulders, release them. And now the movement we'll do is reverse warrior, reaching on up, and then exhale. Parasvottanasana. See if you can find your way between those two postures. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, Parasvo. One more time, inhaling up. And then we'll stay in Parasvottanasana. Find your legs. Let that left thigh bone move back. Feel the full extension in your body. Be in the river of the breath. Scan your body for a place that you're grasping, holding, clinging, tensing. Melt something. Now, come all the way back up to stand. Let's gently turn our feet the other way and we'll do those same two flow sequences. So starting with Virabhadrasana 2, come into the pose. On your exhale, inhale. Arms up or in, your choice. On this next one, we'll stay in the posture. Pause here and discover something that can surrender. What can you let go of? Maybe you can turn your palms open to be just able to receive and separate the fingers like sand can fall through your fingers. We're not holding anything. And then inhale, straighten your leg for a moment. Come into a reverse warrior. Bend that knee, reach the arm overhead. And our flow will be from Parasvottanasana to a reverse warrior. Move on the breath. Try not to hold anything. The legs, of course, are strong and supportive, but even those we can feel dynamically. Nothing's stuck. Well, next time you get down into a Aparigraha, we'll stay, but we'll breathe. Sand between your fingers. Melt the base of your skull. Relax your feet into the ground. Give weight. Of course, there's muscular strength, but there's breath imbued within that strength. Come all the way back up to stand. Turn your feet forward. Release down into a wide-legged pose and melt your head. Surrender here. And then we'll turn back to the front of your mat for a dog pose and release any tension from your legs. Yield on the breath. Come forward into a plank. Lower yourself down. Any back bend you want. Come on up. Wiggle around in your spine. And sit back onto your heels or onto a block, Virasana. And of course, different choices are always available. Ground into your thighs. So press down with your hands. Kind of going from the tops toward the knees. And then pause here for just a moment. Feel the flow of your breathing. Are you imagining yourself flowing in the river? Try not to hold on to anything. Let yourself float. Be carried. Non-grasping requires a lot of trust. So open your heart space. Let the courage of trust kind of bloom within you. And feel that fullness of your breath enter and leave, staying in the flow of breathing. Come back onto all fours. Move that block if you were sitting on one and give your spine a little wiggle. Stretch your left leg straight back behind you. Curl your toe under. Open up the back of the leg. Cross that leg over and turn and look at your foot. Full breath to your side body. Coming back to center. We'll change sides. Stretch that leg out. Curl your toes under. And then we'll turn and look at the foot. Bring that foot, cross it over your leg. And then relax that and come back to a child's pose. I'm going to prepare for a pigeon pose. If you'd like to move into a dog pose and then, kind of bring one leg up, you can do that. Or you can just start on the ground on your knees and come into a pigeon pose, right leg forward. If you're not doing a pigeon, reverse pigeon or any other hip stretch that feels right in your body. Take any support that you need. The more we put on, the more we can let go. So sometimes the more props, the more support, our body feels trusting and safe, and then we can surrender more. So feel that expansion before you come into or lower your torso and your head down. And when you do, support underneath your head in some way. Maybe you want to rock your head a little bit to remind your neck that it doesn't hold tension. And then melt through your face. Let the surrender be literally your skin. You're softening your cheeks, your tongue, your jaw, your eyes. How is the rhythm of your breath? Are you able to stay in the flow of it? When you come out of pigeon pose on this side, you can do a dog pose if you'd like and lift that leg up and stretch open through the hip or anything that feels right, or you can just come onto all fours and we'll switch to the other side. So whatever pose you're doing on this side, try to do the same pose on the other side. And if that's not available, adjust, make some changes. Feel the extension and the lifting upward, and then when you're ready, you can come long spine, coming down to a sleeping pigeon. Remember all your alignment, set yourself well, and then bring yourself into the flow of your breath. Melting through your eyes, through your jaw, your cheeks, your skin. The palms are free and open. Shoulders relax, base of the skull can melt. The head is supported, being in the flow of the breath. All right, and then when you feel ready, we'll go ahead and come all the way out of there. Take your time for a neutral pose, whatever that looks like for you. And we're going to find a restorative pose. So I want to do a twist first. I don't know if you all have a bolster, but if you do, I'm going to show this. And then if you don't, I'll give a plan B. So if you have a bolster, we're going to take I like to take a medium block and a low block. You could do high and medium if you prefer, to create a little bit of a ramp. Okay. And then sit with your hip on the side of the ramp with your feet off to the side. And we're going to turn and lie down on the bolster for a twist. Now, if you don't have this setup, and you can look at my feet for a minute, you can take, get your legs comfortable. I know I'm in a sunbeam, but you can put your foot right in front of your knee. That might be an option. You can straighten a leg, top or but you just kind of find a comfortable place. I usually find it most comfortable to have my foot near my knee and then I roll to twist. But whatever works for you. And then if you don't have that and you'd like to, you can be on blocks with a blanket or two, which is a little lower. So if you're going to do that version, I would straighten the top leg
so that you can come a little deeper and then you can, soften the leg once you're there. So just kind of find whatever works for you for support. Breathing deeply. And just allow your body to rest. You can turn your head in the opposition of your legs. And just give yourself over to the breath. Sometimes it takes a little adjustment to get yourself comfy. Remember to keep yourself in the flow of your breath. Melt into the blocks, the bolster, the blankets, whatever you have. And when you're ready, you can climb up. And we'll go to the other side. So bring your legs the other way. We're going to turn toward our bolster and lie down our belly, our chest on the bolster. Your legs are off on the other side now. Some breaths in, some breaths out. Try to stay in the flow of your breath. And remember, you can always turn your head the same direction or the opposite. You choose what's comfortable for your neck. Whenever you feel ready, we can come out of there. And you have, voila, your props all set for Supta Baddha Konasana, or maybe you'd rather do leg up the wall pose or any restorative posture that you know and love. Do something that really gives you that feeling of being able to surrender, to not hold, to not grasp, to practice the art of letting go. The more we practice in the simple ways, like with our breath and our body, then when we notice ourselves ruminating on a thought over and over, we can bring our breath into that. We can relax our body. We can use our body and breath as a tool to help our mind. Okay, so you're developing skill. This isn't just about, yay, I get to rest for a few minutes, which is also a blessing, but you're developing skill here. So as you come to your favorite restorative pose, make sure you have enough props. Make sure you feel that you have enough put on that you can let go. Okay. So you want your limbs to be able to surrender and feel supported. You want your head to be able to relax. It's heavy and we hold it all the time. So see what you can do to melt. Once you get into your position, see what you can do to give yourself a head to toe sequential releasing. And if you get to a place in your body that's having a hard time letting go, then try a little squeeze and then a release. Sometimes reminding a contraction can remind the body of what a release feels like. If you're cold, cover yourself.
even just being cold can be a form of grasping. We try to hold our heat and guard it. So let's see if you can let yourself be in a neutral place where nothing in your body is uncomfortable, where you have to hold anything. Be in the flow of the breath. Practice the art of melting the body. It's not uncommon to notice layering, where you release one layer and then suddenly you notice something else, something a little deeper that maybe is holding on. Notice where the breath is going. Whenever you feel ready to make a transition, you can, and you can stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. I mean, in Supta Baddha or whatever pose you're in for as long as you'd like. So you don't have to move a thing, and if you want to, you go right ahead. There's any props you want to adjust or change, you do that. Remember to stay warm. If you're making a change in position when you get back to a settling, let your body surrender again. Be in the flow of the river. Imagine yourself floating down a warm river. It's got a beautiful slow pace holding you. And when you feel ready, begin to deepen your breathing. Staying in the flow of breath, but just maybe a little broader. Start to move your body in small or big bits. And eventually find your way to your side and pause there for a moment. Let your body be at peace. And very slowly begin to push yourself up to a comfortable seat. Move very slowly. And when you return back to your seat, take your time. Just give yourself that moment to regroup, sense into the change of your mind, your nervous system, your body, your breathing. How do you feel different now? And can you take this yama, this kind of personal reining in restraint that we can have where we learn to not grasp so much? How can we take this into the day today? Notice the ways without judgment or admonishment, how possessiveness or clinging shows up for you. And when you notice them, just bring yourself to your breath and imagine yourself in that river again.
and practice the art of letting go. Palms together. Let's offer our practice. Send your care, all the fruits of your tree, offer them outward. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.